And that's kind of where I see some interest here, and where if I was to put money on this fight, I would probably be willing to put a few dollars on. What's up, Barnhill family? Welcome back to the channel.
Yo.
So Nick, Islam Makhachev, he's going to be competing in his first UFC main event this weekend, taking on who I think is a very tough opponent, Thiago Moisés. And the betting odds really are leaning in Islam's favor to win this fight. I believe he's a minus 750 favorite to a plus 490 for Moisés. So I'm trying to see, are there any good bets that you could place on Islam that might actually give you a decent return on your money and be kind of in line with what might happen in this fight?
Yeah, this is an interesting matchup. He kind of had the same situation as Khamzat Chimaev. A lot of people don't want to fight him. They're trying to give him really big names, and nobody's really taking the bait on the Dagestani nightmare, really. So you get a tough guy like Thiago Moisés that says, you know what, I'll answer the call. It's going to be a tough night out for me, but high risk, high reward in this sport, and I think it's going to be a good fight. I'm interested in seeing Islam fight in a 5-round main event.
Yeah.
I don't think that the pressure is going to get to him. They're kind of a cold-blooded type of guy that
very well prepared.
Yeah, they're well prepared. They've been doing it their whole life. He's used to competition. He's kind of was groomed by Khabib, who got very familiar with that type of environment. So I don't see that getting to him, but I would like to see the 5 rounds. I'd like to see him push it into the 4th and 5th round. And while a lot of the betting seems to, project that we're going to see a decision here, I just don't know if we're going to see Thiago Moisés be able to hang in there for a full 25 minutes.
Yeah, so the bettors that have made the odds certainly think that we're going to see a 5-round decision victory for Islam here. And so if you were to put money on the decision, it's plus 105. If you were to put money on a KO for Islam, KO/TKO, you're looking at plus 420 odds. Or if you put money on a submission by Islam, you're looking at plus 280 odds. And that's kind of where I see some interest here, and where if I was to put money on this fight, I would probably be willing to put a few dollars on a submission victory for Islam for a couple reasons. One, this is a 5-round fight. It's very hard when you have somebody with the pressure, grappling, and tenacity of Islam coming at you for 25 minutes to make it all 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And number 2, I think that if he is to get a finish, it's more likely going to come on the ground, which, as we saw in his last fight, a beautiful head and arm triangle that he cinched in on Drew Dober wasn't even necessarily on the right side to complete that triangle, but was able to get it just due to extreme pressure nonetheless. So I think that the more likely outcome and what might be a good bet here is putting some money on Islam winning this fight via submission.
Yeah, over the Brazilian, which is easier said than done for sure, but it can be done. Those Dagestani wrestlers, they have really good submissions, and what they do is kind of break your will. And at that point, once you've gotten beaten up on the ground and pound, you realize you're not, at the same level, or they're slightly above you on the feet, and that you're not going to submit them. You kind of roll over, accept that the job is over, and live to fight another day. That seems to be what happens a lot in MMA. It's kind of an unwritten thing, but when you've had enough, you can always roll over and let somebody cinch in a nice choke and chalk it up as a loss and a learning experience. I think that what we see oftentimes with these Dagestani wrestlers and even some of the Brazilian fighters is we get very entertaining fights that largely take place on the ground.
Yep.
And, the general consensus is if you're a casual that you hate ground fighting, but you look at George St. Pierre, he fought a lot on the ground and pound, top control, ground style.
Yep.
Khabib, everybody loved watching Khabib. Khamzat Chimaev, one of the rising prospects, he's a very dominant ground fighter. Obviously, these guys all have good striking, but that style can be very entertaining, and people really will enjoy it if you don't take the get on top and rest type of approach. If you've got a very offensive ground and pound, a mauling, if you can just literally appear like you're a snake on somebody and you're just like taking their limbs away and holding, even if you got to do the Dagestani handcuff and just punch somebody in the face and they have no way to block it, people like seeing that kind of stuff. So I don't know that we're going to see a lot of stalemating on the ground, and I also don't know if we're going to see 25 full minutes of ground and pound and crazy exchanges like that. That's why I'm kind of leaning towards a finish and rather than a full 25-minute war.
Are you thinking TKO finish, like ground and pound situation, or are you thinking submission as well?
It's really hard. I like the fact that these guys like Islam and Khabib, they're able to threaten the takedown so much and threaten the ground game so much that people often forget about their hands. And that's why you see them throw these long hooks where they're charging in, and it caught Conor McGregor when Khabib do it a couple of times in Islam's career. You've seen him land a very similar shot to that's knocked people down, knocked people out. So early on, I think that what we're going to see is some attempts like that, and he might catch him, might knock him out like that. But if it continues anything past the second round, I think the likelihood of a finish is going to come through submission.
Yeah, so that's going to be my bet as well for Islam. If we're looking at what's a good plus money bet to make, I think Islam by submission.
Yeah.
What's interesting here is almost 50% of the betting money has come in on Moisés. I guess that people are willing to roll the dice on the young, very athletic Brazilian in hopes of a big payday. And so I think when you look at what the odds look like for Moisés, a submission obviously would be plus 1,600. I think the likelihood of Moisés submitting Islam, even though he is a high level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, are pretty slim. The odds of a decision are plus 1,100. It's hard to grind out a decision against Islam. So I'm looking at the KO potential here. I don't think it's going to happen, but if you're somebody that likes to roll the dice, Islam's only loss did come by KO. It happened in the first round. It was in 2015, but he did get knocked out.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, that was actually here in Houston, and I'm drawing a blank on the opponent's name at the moment. But a KO at plus 1,200, you bet 100 to win back 1,200. If you're a dice roller and you're a Moisés guy and you want to put some money on the dog here, that would be where I'd go. I think you're going to lose your $100. But at the same time, if I were to have to make a bet on Moisés, that would probably be the bet I would make.
Yeah, and this isn't really the best fight for you to pick to bet on. But if you are diehard about betting on fights and you want to, it makes it more fun for you to watch the fights when you've got a little bit of money on the line.
It does.
I think it's fun to throw a few bucks at the underdog, especially when you've got a guy like Islam Makhachev in there, because it's a tough task, but it can be a very thrilling ride for the 25 minutes or however long the fight lasts for you.
That's for sure. Well, guys, let us know in the comments. Are you going to be placing any wagers on this fight? And is Islam going to just run through Moisés, or does the underdog have a real chance here? Let us know. We always love chatting with you guys in the comments. As always, if you've enjoyed the video, a like, comment, and subscribe is greatly appreciated. And if you listen to audio podcasts, check us out there as well. Have a great day, guys.
Peace.